Class, let's get started on week 4. On week 4, you will be choosing a site builder and choosing a host. And then we will also go through the project 2 requirements. Please note that project 1 is due this week. If you have not started on that yet, please do so quickly. You will need all the time you can get on that project. Let's start with our first topic, which is choosing a site builder. We are actually going to get into building the website now. That's the next step in our business creation process. And in building your website, there will be 3 main categories that you can choose from. One is a drag and drop builder. This is the most common. If you have not built a website before, I recommend this approach. Weebly.com, Wix.com, and many others fall into this category. I think Weebly and Wix are probably the most popular. Feel free to search out your own drag and drop builder. Wix is a little bit more expensive than Weebly. It's a little bit easier to use and has some more features, but both work great for the course. I'll let you do your individual research on each of those. Please note for the class, we will need a third-party payment method, meaning PayPal or some credit card payment function. Even if that's not part of your business model, for some of you, you may be relying on advertising revenue. That will be part of an assignment later on in the course. So consider that as you look at different options. You will need that. The next level of site building option is called the content management system. WordPress is the most common content management system. You'll see down here Squarespace, Shopify. Essentially what these do is marry the idea of hard coding a website with a template, and so you can choose from a template or a theme, but you have a lot more control over them from a coding or a customization perspective. I personally do not recommend WordPress for this class, just because so many students have had trouble with some of the features we use later on, like Google Analytics or Google Ads. AdSense is not a required platform for this course, but for those of you who will be doing advertising on your website as your form of revenue, many of you will use Google AdSense. And all of that has, students have struggled with it. I used WordPress extensively probably 5 or 6 years ago. And so I'm not using it quite as frequently, and so I'm not able to troubleshoot all of the issues, and WordPress has not been extremely helpful. So I say that as a word of caution. If you use WordPress, you're very comfortable with it, then by all means feel free. It is an option out there. But for those of you who have not used a content management system in the past, I just don't recommend WordPress, because every semester it seems we're having trouble with them. And then your last option is to hard code a website. If you'd like to build a website from the ground up, you may certainly do so. Dreamweaver is a very popular option. That's where I built websites, was in Dreamweaver. There are plenty of other platforms. I only recommend that option if you've done it before and you're comfortable. It is a lot of work. It provides complete customization of the website because you build and own the code. And if you're comfortable with that, then that's great. You are certainly free to build the website, but that option is quite a bit of work on top of the other assignments we'll be doing. So those are your 3 options to construct the website. If you have questions about any of those, reach out. I'm happy to talk through what you're considering. I've used all of those options when building websites, and so I'm happy to add my 2 cents to your decision-making process on that. You'll have a discussion board on your site builder, and midweek project 1 is due. So let's jump into choosing a host. An important note on this is that now hosting and site building are often interwoven. For example, if you chose Wix, you cannot separate your hosting and your site building. Wix requires the purchase of both, and Wix will do the hosting, and that is becoming more and more common. We separate it out in the course so you recognize they are two separate services. And you may purchase them through one company, but they're two very different services. The hosting is essentially the virtual real estate, the ground upon which you will build your website. And so you're purchasing space on which to house your content. And then the site builder is the construction of what the customer will actually see. That's the construction of your website. So I always think of choosing a host as purchasing land and site building as actually building the building, if you want to compare it to a traditional business. The assignment for this will follow much the same, and I apologize I did not go into detail on the site building assignment. I was walking you through the different options, but the assignments will follow much the same process. A Word document that explains your process, and then your thought process, and then a quantify and compare spreadsheet. Those will be required for your site builder assignment as well. But you will, for this assignment, search out different hosting companies and assess them. Again, be aware of whether or not your site builder also provides hosting. When this started to happen a few years back and become very, very popular, I actually purchased hosting and a site builder that already had hosting and had to seek out a refund. So be aware of that. You don't want to purchase additional hosting if your site builder already hosts. But regardless of if your site builder hosts, you'll want to do this assignment. So go through and research different hosting companies and then go ahead and answer these questions and create a quantify and compare spreadsheet on them. Then we'll go on to project 2, where you'll actually create your website. And the project 2 is broken down into different tasks. There's a video that will walk you through some different examples. To me, it's easier to explain project 2 when we look at it from the standpoint of these 3 criteria at the bottom. What we're looking for is a website with its own domain name, which means through Wix or Weebly or WordPress or many other sites, you can get a free website, but it's going to say your website name .wixsites.com or .weebly.com. That will not get you credit in the course, and it will cause issues later on as we integrate with Google. So you'll need your own domain name. And then you'll need most of the necessary pages and design for your site. We're not looking for a perfect, polished site, but I need to understand where you're going with it. I need to see the different pages, links to the different pages, where your products or services may be highlighted, that kind of a thing. And then, as I mentioned, integration with a third party to enable financial transactions. We will do an assignment in the next couple weeks based on PayPal and integrating PayPal into your site. So you can use that, or your site builder may come with an option. Another option for third-party financial transactions is AdSense, advertising on your site, or an affiliate link that will also meet this requirement. So the PayPal assignment will be a separate assignment that everyone will need to do, just because that's an essential function for online business success over the long run. You want to know how to do that. For your particular website, you may not be utilizing that, and so Google AdSense or an affiliate link, all of that will meet this requirement of integration with a third party to enable financial transactions. So if you have all 3 of those, that's 100 points. If you have 2 of those, you'll have 88 points, and if you only have 1 of them, you'll have 70 points for this. So these tasks will walk you through essentially how to do those step by step. But that's really what you're graded on for Project 2. And that will be it. You will have the reflection at the end of the week. Please let me know if there are questions or concerns. I'm going to return to this site builder assignment because, again, I apologize. I left off these exact requirements down here. I meant to cover this. You'll need a Word document with a brief essay. It should be at least 150 words in length, but just an explanation of your thought process over your site builder selection. And then you'll need a quantify and compare spreadsheet in Excel. So I apologize for leaving that off. I was quite caught up in the explanation of different site building options. Still gets me very excited to discuss that topic, apparently. So again, please reach out if you're having trouble considering these, or if you're wondering if hosting and site building is packaged together, and I'm happy to help you work through that. Thanks, everyone.